To multiply in scientific notation form, you really have to remember that in multiplication, order doesn't matter. And you have to know how to write in scientific notation form, and you have to know how to use the product rule for exponents. Now, if you don't know how to write in scientific notation form, go back and review that. If you don't know how to do the product rule, go back and do that. And also, sometimes you're going to have to know how to multiply in decimals, because no calculators. The reason is we want you to continue to work on this skill. And yeah, so I'm going to trust that you guys are not going to use a calculator. If you guys choose to use one, just know that that's on your learning, and do what's best for you, I would suggest. Okay, I'm trying to get rid of this thing. Come on. There we go. So we have our problem 4.78 times 10 to the 7th times 9.3 times 10 to the negative second. Now in multiplication, order doesn't matter. And we don't need those parentheses as a result. So because order doesn't matter, I can get rid of the parentheses and I can move around the numbers. So watch how I move it around. Notice how I put the mantisas together and the powers together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this in red. I'm going to multiply the decimals without a calculator.
And when multiplying by decimals, we don't need to line up the decimal place. So 7 times 3 is 21, 22, 23. 4 times 3 is 12, 13, 14. We moved over a place value, so we add a 0. 9 times 8 is 72. Change this to a 7. 7 times 9 is 63, plus 7 is 70. 4 times 9 is 36, plus 7 is 43. We're going to add those together. And you count the decimal place values. So I have 2 here, so 1, 2, and 1 here, so I have 3 total, so 1, 2, 3.
So I get 44.454 to the, or 44.454. Now I'm going to use the product rule and get 10 to the 5th power, because I'm going to do 7 plus negative 2. So I'm looking at this, I'm like, ooh, I don't have scientific notation form. That red, that mantissa, is not between 1 and 10. So if I move the decimal place over 1 more, I get 4.4454. And this is going to change the exponent. Now I made the number smaller, which means I need to multiply by an additional 10. So I'm going to go up from 5 to 6. And that is my number, 4.4454 times 10 to the 6th. Let's try another problem. So I can multiply the decimals together because order doesn't matter. Do my exponents. Now I also notice that this is not in correct scientific notation form. If it is in correct scientific notation form, you're done. But we have to move this over 1 to the left, so it's a number between 1 and 10. And since I had to make the number smaller, that means I have to multiply by an additional 10, which means I go from negative 6 to negative 5 and higher.